Hello, guys, and welcome back. I am so excited to have you here with me today because we are wrapping up 2024 and setting the tone for 2025. So, if you are wanting 2025 to be the year your jewelry business finally takes off and you also get a life while you're building your business, then you need more than just goals. And I know we're heading into goal setting season, but that alone is not going to get you very far. You also need a plan. And so today we're going to be breaking down how to set yourself up for success by focusing on the strategies and on the systems and the habits that actually drive results. I don't want you getting stuck in the busy work this year. I don't want you in that place of hoping things are going to fall into place. I really want to talk about and show you how to turn your big dreams into actionable steps so that we can set you up for real sustainable growth this year. And so, before we even dive into this, the first thing I really want to talk about is setting the tone for 2025. And this is important because the beginning of the year does kind of set the pace for the rest of the year. Obviously, you can always start at any time in the year. Things can happen, you can fall off track, but there's something about the new year. There's a fresh energy, there's an excitement that makes it kind of easy to get started on the right track. And if you are starting the year kind of fumbling around, not with any plan, not with a clear strategy, what typically happens is you end up kind of just doing a lot of stuff. You keep yourself busy, but you're not doing the needle making tasks in your business. And so a couple of months into the year, you feel like a little frustrated and a little resentful towards your business because you're like, I'm doing all the work and I'm not seeing results, but it's because you're doing the wrong work. So setting the tone at the beginning of the year makes such a difference. We all have limited time, limited energy, limited money and resources to put into our businesses. And so we want to just make sure we're doing it right from the start. It makes it so much easier than having to months down the line go and like relook at everything and recover from the tasks that you've maybe been doing for months at that point and the resources you've wasted at that point. And so before we even dive into setting the tone for 2025, I want you to take a moment to look back on 2024 and just reflect on the growth, reflect on the wins, reflect on the lessons that you have gone through and that you've learned and moved through in 2024. It's so easy for us to just keep focusing on the future, but it is so important to take a moment and acknowledge and celebrate how far you've come. Maybe you're celebrating sales goals that you hit, which is amazing, but maybe you didn't hit the sales goals you anticipated. But no matter where you are in your journey, you're going to have little milestones and wins that you want to acknowledge and celebrate. When we don't allow ourselves to take that time to acknowledge and celebrate those wins, we very quickly lose motivation to keep showing up in our business. So it's really important to take some time, write out all your wins. Maybe you grew your team. Maybe you simplified your business structure. Maybe you reclaimed your time. Maybe you suddenly feel more confident in what it is that you're building and you feel more driven to keep showing up and to do it. Maybe you became bolder in your content. Maybe you put yourself out there and did more collabs, or you reached out to stores and you got more wholesale accounts. Whatever that is for you. Maybe you opened a physical boutique. Maybe you started doing your first pop-ups. Take a moment, acknowledge and celebrate all of the wins from 2024. Maybe you refined your collection. Maybe you got really confident in your product pricing. Maybe you increased your prices finally. Take some time, think of all the wins, everything you achieved, everything you did so well in 2024 that you want to take a moment to celebrate. And Then let's get clear on like, okay, well, for 2025, what do I want this year to bring me? You know, what is it that I want from my business this year? Am I ready to grow my team? What sales goals do I have? Am I anticipating bringing in revenue from online or events or wholesale accounts? And what does that look like for me? What am I optimizing for? Am I optimizing for more time, or am I optimizing for a season of rapid growth? Am I optimizing for building a business during a really hard season of life? What does this look like for me? And what is it that I'm kind of optimizing for? And I really want to remind you that we want to focus on setting very clear goals and clear intentions in your business, not just making sure that you're busy. Because busy doesn't mean more money, busy doesn't mean like productive. You can very easily keep yourself working 24/7 in a business, especially a jewelry business, and not do what's required. So, I'm not wanting anyone to try and think, oh, my goal for 2025 is to make more sales. So I'm going to pack my calendar with all these things. That's not the secret, unfortunately, because if you're not doing the right tasks, it really doesn't matter how many hours you are working. And we also want to make sure that your business growth is coming from a place of clarity and purpose and intention, and not just being busy and hoping something sticks, because that will lead to that frantic, anxious energy, which we want to avoid. Um, so let's talk a little bit about a really important mindset shift that you need to go through when you are setting goals, especially this time of year. You know, there is so much pressure in the new year to set ambitious goals, and it's exciting and it's fun. And there is a little bit of pressure sometimes that comes with setting those goals, but generally, there's a lot of excitement. And at the goal setting stage, you really don't have much to lose because anyone can set goals. I always say to my clients, like when it comes to setting goals, you want to set goals that are realistic, but also a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit outside of your comfort zone. If you set wildly unrealistic goals, your body's not going to believe it. And it doesn't matter where you are in your business, you're very unlikely to hit it because you just feel like those are way out of reach. It needs to feel a little bit realistic. And it's okay to set goals for shorter time periods, for example, for the first 3 months, and then do your next 3 months after that as well, and kind of go at a slower pace in terms of your goal setting. But don't set unrealistic goals, because what happens is you just check out because you were like, oh, there's no way I'm going to hit that, so I'm not even going to really try. And, you know, it doesn't set you up for success. But definitely spend time setting those goals, get clarity over where you're wanting the revenue to come from, what it is that you're wanting to do in terms of your team, how many hours you're wanting to work, what do your goals look like, how many website visitors are you aiming for. And then once you've set those goals, it's time for the real work to begin. Because what I really want to encourage everybody listening to this to do is to shift from a goal focused mindset where it's all about our goals to setting our goals and then shifting our focus to focusing on systems and on habits. Because systems and habits are the things that are actually going to move you closer to your goals. Those are required to get closer to your goals. And the reality is, when we set goals sometimes and we decide, you know what, I'm going to rely on motivation and willpower to get me to those goals and to get me to that place, it doesn't actually help us that much. I know this sounds so boring because it kind of is, but it also frees up so much headspace. It also gives you so much energy when you look at your goals. Let's say a goal, for example, is to get into 20 more wholesale accounts in 2025. Cool. Well, what does that look like when we break it down? What systems do we need in place? What tasks do we need to do? Even like down to the little step, like, who are we hiring a team member to do the outreach? Do we have the messages we're going to be sending them? Do we have our wholesale catalog ready to roll? Like, what are the little steps that need to be taken? What systems do we need in place to follow up and follow up and follow up consistently? And what does that look like? And let me tell you, that part of business is pretty boring, but that's kind of why I love that as well, because there is a safety in the boring work, because we know that that's also required, and that's going to move us closer to our goals, and that's going to help us actually do the things we need to do to get more sales, get more wholesale accounts, whatever it is that you're working towards. So really focusing on building systems and implementing habits that support you in building a sustainable jewelry business is really important. So when you start, and you'll notice this, when you shift your focus to focus on systems and focus on the habits and the things you have to do daily and weekly and monthly in your business, results are going to come naturally. And the reason for that is consistency becomes embedded in your daily actions in your business. You're just naturally consistent because you have a system, you have a habit. And when I say system, some people get so caught up in like, this means an automation, this means this is this. Yes, there are automations. Yes, there are like computer systems that we're talking about, but a system can be as simple as, on Tuesday mornings from 9 till 10:30 every week, I go and sit in this coffee shop and I write 3 emails. That is a system as well. That's how simple they can be. So don't hear the word system and like make this some massive scary thing. Systems can also be simple, and you want them to be simple. And so when you're focusing on systems, the results come naturally because you're naturally consistent at doing what's required to get your business to where it is that you're wanting it to move to. Now, can we guarantee you're going to get there at a certain timeline? Absolutely not. But what we can guarantee is you're doing what's required to move you closer. You're getting information to pivot quicker if you need to. And some people hit their goals in shorter timelines doing this. Some people take a few weeks or months longer. But ultimately, you are doing what's required. You're getting information, you're pivoting when necessary. And that consistency is so, so key. And this is why there is so much power when we just embrace systems in our business. They are definitely a foundational element when it comes to growing your business. And when we have repeatable processes that we've integrated into our businesses, for everything from like our process for designing new collections, our process for creating pieces and making orders and shipping orders and managing our customers and marketing and sending email blasts and driving sales online and driving like community connections on, I don't know, Instagram, and doing events and reaching out to wholesale accounts. When we have repeatable processes for all of these tasks and so much more, it makes growth in our business predictable to a certain level and also scalable, which is so, so big and so, so valuable. So, when I'm just looking at, for example, my clients that I work with, everybody is different. Everybody has different goals. Everyone is different in different seasons of life. But when we're looking at systems to implement that are going to make sure that they are doing the key money-making tasks on a daily basis, it can be as simple as, committing to, in the first 15 minutes every day, to creating a piece of content on Instagram. Now, obviously, there's strategy behind the type of content, but creating a little ritual where we're habit stacking content creation with my morning coffee is a really simple way of integrating systems along with making sure you're doing those key revenue driving tasks every single day. We can do that again when it comes to inventory management or email campaigns or, building our team, whatever that looks like. So it doesn't have to be super complicated to be effective. And typically, the more simple the system, the more likely you are to actually use it and implement it and be consistent with it. And what that enables you to do is it really frees up a lot of your time, it frees up a lot of your energy, and it frees up a lot of headspace. Because when we implement systems, we can stop reinventing the wheel every single time we have to do a task, and we can focus on what really moves the needle forward. It also takes away that headspace of every week being like, oh, okay, this week I need to remember to do these posts. I need to remember to send these emails. You don't have to think when you have systems in place, because you know, oh, every Monday from 2 to 4 p.m., I write my emails for the week or for the month. Every Friday between 1 and 3, I plan out my following week and I reply to these emails. When it comes to customer emails, I have a virtual assistant who does all my replies every single day for half an hour. So do you see how we integrate these different systems to free up our time, free up our energy, and free up our headspace? It makes such a difference. Now, when you do set your goals for your business, setting a goal, for example, I'm going to just use easy numbers. I want to make $100,000 in my jewelry business this year. Cool. Having just that big number isn't going to help you or anyone actually make it happen. It's so important to break your goals down into actionable steps. So, if you were to even say your goal is to increase sales, that doesn't really mean much. We need to put a number to it. So saying, hey, I want to increase sales by 50,000 and hit 100,000 in sales this year, that's a start. But then we want to break that down even further. Where are those sales coming from? For example, are 20,000 coming from wholesale? Are another 20,000 coming from your online? And which revenue streams are we bringing these revenue these sales from? I can't even speak today. Like, what streams of revenue are contributing to this, and is it realistic? So it's all very well to say, okay, I want to make 100,000 in sales and I want 80,000 of that to come from my online. Well, you have to be realistic. It depends where you are in business. If you have no followers or you have 50 followers and your product price is around $50 a piece and your email list is at 25 people, it would be very unrealistic to set a goal of 80,000 in online sales for the year. But you could shift the ratio a little bit and you could still hit that 100,000 by introducing wholesale, introducing consignment, introducing pop-ups and events, and doing online. If you're more established or you're selling higher end jewelry, and you have a bigger email list or you have a very engaged audience, even if you only have 2,000 followers, you can still hit that 100,000, but it's going to be different for every business owner. And it does take into account how many followers you currently have. How good are you at creating content? Is this your weak spot? Is this something you're getting better at? Is this something you're actually really good at? And how big is your email list? So all of these things need to be taken into account. But when you do set your goals, make sure you break them down into very specific, smaller goals that you can then break those down in terms of like action steps. So if you're saying, okay, I want to make 20,000 from wholesale accounts this year, what does that look like on a daily basis? How many days a week do you need to reach out to stores? How many no's are you willing to collect to get those yeses? I always like to look at no's and be like, okay, well, if we're wanting 20,000 in wholesale orders, let's be on the safe side and say we have 10 stores ordering $2,000 worth of products in a year. 10 stores, to get 10 stores to say yes, I'm going to be on the safe side and say you need to collect 120 no's to get those 10 yeses. And so that is another way to be very specific in terms of how much are you willing to be rejected to actually move your business forward. And you also want to look at like specific actions if you're wanting to increase your online sales, you want to be specific over, okay, well, what does that look like? What campaigns am I going to run this year? How am I going to engage my Instagram community and my email list? What lead magnets do I need to create to increase the traffic that I can drive to my website as well? How can I refine my customer journey on the website? How can I optimize my website? Break those down into specific tasks and then make sure that we actually have a plan on how we're going to implement those. And also break your goals into little milestones, because breaking it down into these little steps, little milestones, enables you to celebrate lots of little wins throughout the year as you move towards them. And that helps you build and maintain motivation. It makes a huge, huge difference, because when you're able to just be celebrating lots of little wins along the way every single week, it makes it so much easier to keep showing up. Whereas when you're waiting till the end of the year to celebrate these big wins and big milestones and big goals you set for yourself, it's really hard to stay motivated through the process of actually getting there. Now, as we do head into 2025 and we decide to focus on systems, stop stressing about goals, one thing I really, really, really want to make sure everyone takes away from this is avoid the busy work. Avoid the busy work. It leads to burnout. It leads to frustration. It leads to resentment. It is no bueno, but it feels good in the moment. Just long term is no bueno. So you really need to recognize the difference between staying busy and being productive in 2025. So if we look at busy work, what is busy work? Well, busy work to me would be excessive social media scrolling. It would be creating new designs all the time when you aren't even selling your current designs. It's different if your stuff sells out all the time, but if you're not really driving that many sales, creating new designs is actually busy work. Organizing your inventory and your studio to a certain extent, that is productive, but there becomes a point where it's actually just busy work. Shooting content can also turn into busy work when you shoot so much content and you only share like 3 pieces from that content. So there's some blurred lines here, but you want to look at like, where are you doing tasks just because it feels good? How many trips to like Winners or Target are you taking to like look for display elements for your events, when really we don't need to spend that much time and energy doing that? And it doesn't need to be repeatedly, going on these shopping trips, but it feels good in the moment. It feels like, yeah, you know what, I'm doing things for my business, but it's really excessive. So look at what the busy work is. Ask yourself if that task that you're working on, that you seem to spend a lot of time on, is actually contributing to your business growth or your revenue. And then if it's not, allow yourself to step away from it and focus on the tasks that directly align with your goals. So instead of focusing, for example, on making new designs all the time, focus that creative energy on marketing your existing designs to your customers and to new customers. Just shift the what's the word I'm looking for? Shift the focus of your creative energy from creating new designs to creating marketing and art, essentially, to drive more sales of your existing designs. And that's just a little reframe. I know some people listening to this get very triggered by the fact that they have to really get really good at social media to do well in the online world right now. And you could look at it as like, wow, I'm so angry that I live in a world where I have to become a content creator to do well in business. Or you could look at it to say to yourself, wow, I'm so grateful I live in a world where I can lie in bed on a Tuesday morning, create content on my phone that has the potential to be seen by people around the world, and I get to share my art with them in that way. And in marketing, I get to express myself. I get to see that as a creative expression. I get to see that as art. I get to see that as creation, and I get to develop those skills. So do you see how that little perspective shift makes all the difference? But it's really important that we prioritize tasks that align with your goals. Something a lot of people get wrong when they go into their jewelry business or they're growing their jewelry business is they think all their time is spent making and designing. That's actually not correct. You want to spend 80% of your time marketing and working on the business, 20% doing all the other things. 80% is marketing. So unless you're super established, then you're in a different category, then you can cut back a little bit. But at that stage, you'll probably have a team as well. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, one of the reasons, well, there's kind of three main reasons why businesses fail to achieve results. And I think it's great for us to talk about this at the very beginning of the year so that at the end of the year, you're not like, oh my gosh, I set my goals, I set my systems, and then I still didn't achieve my results. Let's talk about it now so we can kind of come up with a plan beforehand in terms of how to move through that. So the first reason most jewelry businesses fail to kind of hit their goals is that they have a lack of clear strategy. They just don't have clarity over their strategy. And this isn't just a strategy in terms of, oh, I'm going to do 7 posts a week and I'm going to send 3 emails a week and I'm going to do this. That alone is not a strategy. The core part of a strategy, and this is the first thing I do with every single client who comes into the Jewelry Business Academy, whether they are brand new or they are an established business owner making multiple 6 figures, is we look at how can we differentiate you from all the other businesses out there? What makes you different? What makes you unique? And if your Instagram profile currently says something along the lines of like sparkly jewelry to make you feel confident, or golden jewelry to empower you, or gold filled jewelry for every day, how do you expect that to stand above the noise? There are so many brands with those sort of taglines. They use the words unique, they use the words empower, they use the word confident, and it really just does not stand above the noise. And so it's first looking at like what makes you and your brand unique. What is the story here? What is the meaning? And for some brands, it's really deep. For others, it's really light. And it's about identifying what is authentic to you and your brand and what that differentiator is. Because without that, honestly, the content, the emails, none of it's going to be as impactful. And for some people, they can find that right off the bat. For others, it takes a few weeks. Others, they'll get started and they'll pivot and they'll keep tweaking, and that's okay as well. But if you don't have like your niche and you're not niche down when you're starting, it's just hard to stand above the noise. And then it makes all your content feel a little bit pointless, your emails a little pointless. They just don't hit as hard. And I've seen that with clients, actually. I have a very dear client. I think she's going to come back on the podcast soon to share her story. But she came to our retreat and we really worked on niching down in terms of her story and weaving that into her business. And I can't tell you what a shift I've seen in her content, in her business. And it kind of just clicked for her. And she has had way more customers starting conversations with her at events. Her content is just doing so much better. And she's really starting to build more momentum there. And that all comes down to, actually getting clear on your niche and your offer and making sure it's genuine and authentic to you as well. And that's probably the hardest part that I see a lot of people struggle with. And it's one of the most important things. So just posting content, just doing emails, just reaching out to stores alone isn't really enough. And then there's your pricing strategy, your loss leaders. Does it make sense for you to do custom orders or not? And what's the process there? So yeah, not having a clear strategy and just kind of copying what other people are doing or winging it is one of the biggest reasons a lot of businesses fail to kind of hit their goals. The next key reason businesses often fail to hit their goals is that they are not tracking results and they are not tracking data. They are not looking at all the insights in their business and using those to pivot, using those to double down. and they kind of just showing up, doing the thing, and not taking account of like what's doing well, what's driving more traffic, which emails are doing well, which types like structures working, what CTAs are getting us website visitors, like where are the clicks coming from, what type of content are people resonating with. They're not tracking that, and they're not taking that information and either pivoting or doubling down on what's working and what's not working. The third key reason a lot of jewelry businesses just don't hit their goals is that they have so much resistance to change. And a lot of businesses fail to scale because they're afraid of making changes, whether it's in their marketing, their pricing, or their product line. You know, I have worked with so many jewelry business owners at this point, and one that's coming to mind had been in business for over a decade, like very many years, had been making six figures very consistently for years. And she had so much fear that making any changes to her strategy would cause all her sales to just disappear. So when she came into the program to work with me, the Jewelry Business Academy, she was very nervous about this. She was so anxious that making any changes would or just lose her those six figures in sales. And those were all online sales. And we slowly made some changes, and we actually reduced things, we cut things, we simplified things, and we did it very gradually. And her sales increased, and she got a bit more of her life back. So she started working less hours, she had more focus, she felt more energized, and the sales increased. So, you know, for somebody who's listening to this, don't get so caught up in the fear of change. Be confident that if things dip, you have the ability to bring it back up, but also recognize that there's a cost to hiding away from change. There's a cost to that fear, and change can so often be the best thing for your business. Changing a strategy, refining a strategy, doubling down on what's working, cutting things that just are taking too much time away from other parts of your business that could be driving more revenue. So, you know, whether it's your marketing, your pricing, your product line, if you're doing events or wholesale, whatever it is, try not to be resistant to change. Be open to change. Don't be reckless, but be open to change and embrace change, because there is so much growth that comes with that. And so, yeah, when we're talking about, to kind of wrap this up, strategy and systems, I know when you hear the words strategy and systems, you just think, wow, this sounds damn boring. And I get it, because I literally think the same. When I hear the word strategy and systems, it just sounds boring. The reality of strategy and systems is that they guide actions. They make it easy for you to implement, and they enable you to not work harder. It's about working smarter. It's about knowing the right steps that you need to take and when. It's about having a clear pathway of, here's what I do on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Here's what I do every Monday, every Wednesday. Here's what I do once a month. Here are what my team members do to like do these certain tasks and move us closer to those goals. So having a clear strategy enables us to really align every decision that we're making with the bigger vision we have for our jewelry businesses, and make sure that we're actually taking the steps required to get there. And it enables us to make sure that we are implementing things consistently in our business. And consistency leads to predictable outcomes over time in your business. So it enables you to have more predictable growth with your systems. Now, here's a really easy example for you. One of the things I teach my clients in the Jewelry Business Academy that we don't really talk about, because some people get very scared when they hear this, but I'm going to dump it on you now, because 2025 is the year that you are not letting fear get in the way of yourself or your business. And so one of the things I teach my clients to do through the Jewelry Business Academy is podcast marketing, because it is one of the most impactful forms of organic marketing out there. But it's very vulnerable. And so most people just won't do it because it's vulnerable. That's it. But it's so effective. So when we're looking at like a system for like, okay, well, I know I'm not going to have many downloads when I start recording and publishing my podcast. I know this needs long-term consistency. Well, what do? We schedule in every Wednesday from 1 to 2 podcast recording. Done. That is an example of a system that is setting us up. So over the year, we have 52 podcast episodes done and dusted, and we start building momentum in that way. And so you want to do that with every element of your business. Everywhere you can habit stack, implement a system, implement a routine, make it easy so you can actually focus on the right tasks every day. Take away the headspace of sitting at your desk and thinking, wow, what do I need to do today? I wonder if I should make a post. I wonder if I should send an email. We want to remove all of that because that just drains you and it doesn't get you doing what's required. And honestly, what I've seen in the Jewelry Business Academy is that the businesses who implement systems and focus on the strategies and actually just are consistent with them over time, they get better and better at implementing. They see measurable growth, whether it's through sales or higher customer retention, or they are just seeing more consistent engagement and growth in terms of their community. So it is so impactful, but that consistency is required. And so just embracing habits, rituals, systems into your business and not seeing them as these scary, big corporate things that we need. It's going to make a world of difference for you as you head into the new year. And that's partly why I created the Jewelry Business Academy. Now, at the beginning of 2024, I launched the 90-day Jewelry Business Blueprint. And in 2025, we have a completely new updated blueprint. Our blueprint worked so well for our clients. And I have spent a long time refining it and making it even better and easier for you to implement so that every single day you know exactly what tasks you need to be doing to move the needle forward in your jewelry business. You don't have to think of what should I be doing. You know exactly what tasks need to be done, whether you are brand new and building your business from scratch or you are already making multiple six figures and scaling your business. We take away all the headspace, all the what should I do's, and we literally give you a simple roadmap of here's what to do each and every day to move the needle forward in your business in as little time and energy and effort as possible. Obviously, you're still going to have to show up and do the work. You're not going to get results without doing the work, but we take away all the what should I be doing? And we give you the roadmap that has proven to get a lot of our clients incredible results. And to top things off, this year I have introduced a brand new part of our program called the 10-day Jewelry Biz Sprint. And so whether you're getting started or you are scaling your business, this 10-day sprint is exactly what it sounds like, a 10-day sprint where we give you a simple 10-step pathway that you're going to go through in 10 days. And you are going to refine the foundations of your business. We're going to look at your offer, your niche, the time and how much time and energy you have to spend in your business. We're going to look at your collections. We're looking at your pricing. Is your pricing even right for your business? Do we need to increase pricing? We're looking at the materials you're working with. We're looking at how you're showing up on Instagram and optimizing your Instagram account and your content. We're looking at your email marketing and the automations you need set up there. We're optimizing your website or building it from scratch if you don't even have it, and so much more, so that within 10 days, you're already hitting the ground running, and then you dive straight into our 90-day blueprint. And we have a ton of new bonuses launching this year as well, all available to all our clients in our ultimate bonus vault. And we have everything from advanced Instagram training for anyone who's ready to take their Instagram content to the next level, where we dive into all the different types of content, how to create those effectively, and really high level conversion content in there, advanced email marketing, podcast marketing, lead magnets, and so much more. So if any of that feels exciting to you, if you are ready to do the work this year, but do the work that's required, cut the fluff, be brave, lean into that fear, embrace support, embrace community, and become a part of one of the best jewelry communities out there, come and join me in the Jewelry Business Academy. You can head to jewelrybusinessacademy.ca to learn more and book in your free call with one of our elite coaches to see if you're a good fit for the program. And if you have any hesitations or you're on the fence, I'm going to give you a little healthy push and say, go do it now, because we want to make 2025 the best year yet. And this is the best time to dive right in. So I'll see you on the other side. And I'm excited because we have some exciting things planned for the podcast this year. And I can't wait to share those with you soon.